Ireland is also suspending vaccinations with a vaccine from the British-Swedish manufacturer AstraZeneca. By the way, you should stay tuned until the end if you don't want to miss anything interesting. And if you don't want to miss anything at all, just subscribe to my channel and click the little bell. The Dublin Health Authority said it was a precaution to be taken following a report from the Norwegian Medicines Agency about additional cases of blood clots in vaccinated people. At first, Denmark had stopped vaccinations with the AstraZeneca drug for the time being. Later, Norway, Iceland and Bulgaria followed. Even the Italian regions of Piedmont no longer uses the vaccine for the time being after the death of a vaccinated woman. According to the health authority, the case is being investigated. It has not yet been clarified whether there is a connection between the blood clots and the vaccinations. The World Health Organization and the European Medicines Agency raised doubts about the safety of the vaccine. And the next climate conference, COP26, will take place in November in Glasgow. From there, BYD and ADL have received a new order for electric buses. The client First Bus is preparing the Scottish cities road network for the climate conference. The British subsidiary of BYD and the bus manufacturer Alexander Dennis Limited, ADL, work closely together and have been producing electric buses together for 5 years. The BYD-ADL partnership is now the leading manufacturer of electric buses in Great Britain. At the beginning, the chassis were supplied by BYD, but in the future ADL intends to build them in-house. The electric drive of the buses comes from BYD. First Bus has ordered 22 of their Enviro 200 EV buses. They are 11 meters 60 long and can carry 40 passengers. First Bus will station these buses at the Caledonian Depot in Glasgow, where the corresponding charging infrastructure is already in place. First Bus has announced that it will no longer buy diesel buses from 2022 and that the fleet will be completely emission-free by 2035. The operator has already had 2 Enviro 200 EVs in the fleet since the beginning of 2020 and thus collected valuable insights, as they said. The new e-buses will now replace the oldest vehicles in the fleet and further improve the air in Glasgow. With the current order, the bus operator is financially supported by the Scottish government. The COP26 climate conference will be a showcase for Britain's commitment to fighting climate change, said ADL boss Paul Davies. Among other things, Scotland will then also present a hydrogen train. The transport sector in Scotland is a high priority in the transition to climate-neutral technologies. Scotland aims to be completely climate neutral by 2045. And about the electric buses, we have already several lines here in my hometown in Münster that are completely run by electric buses. When I heard they have the charging stations and the depots, at the moment, because of the long roads they take here and the long destinations, we have charging stations on those lines in the city. So the buses, when they have their break, can be charged there. I'm quite interested. If anybody from Glasgow is here watching, and I know some of my viewers are from Glasgow, perhaps you can tell me in the comments if it is the case in Glasgow as well, or if they're charging them completely in the depot. We need the charging stations on the road here as well. But we get more and more of those as well in my hometown. Münster is doing that for quite some time, and we're getting more and more of these, and it is definitely a good thing. And so I wanted to tell you about this in Scotland as well. And Plymouth City Council's leader says the city's fishing industry has been betrayed by the Brexit deal and is to ask the government for more financial support. The recommendation to seek cash until at least April 2022 came from a special scrutiny committee approved by the Council's Labour Cabinet. Leader Tudor Evans from Labour said the post-Brexit trade and cooperation agreement had betrayed the fishing industry, which supports about 2,000 jobs in Plymouth. Labour and Brexit, they shouldn't be too loud. The committee investigated the impact on the industry of leaving the European Union Customs Union and Single Market on January 1st. Fishers, merchants, processors and consultants told a hearing in February that Brexit and the COVID pandemic had caused the perfect storm and had fallen short of promises to take back control of UK waters. Fishermen said that the post-Brexit trade deal had failed to deliver the increased catch they were hoping for and still allowed EU boats access to UK waters between 6 and 12 miles offshore. Processors said extra costs and paperwork were hitting exports to the EU, which account for 4/5 of trade. Recommendations from the committee approved by the Council's cabinet set out a series of measures to support local fishing communities and businesses. They included asking the government to continue to seek a fairer share of the Western Channel quota of cod, haddock and sole, which are important to the West Country fleet. Councillor Darren Winter, who chaired the investigation hearing, told the cabinet that the government should support fishing businesses and offset any losses resulting from the changes. The Labour councillor said the industry felt betrayed by the deal and the government had spectacularly failed. He added the fishermen were promised everything. They received nothing. Councillor Evans said the council had heard evidence from the people who were suffering due to what was described as a terrible deal. He said the abject failure of the government was to allow French and Spanish trawlers to fish within sight of the English coast in the Western Channel. The Labour leader said ministers were trying to pretend there was a huge uplift in quota, which had not happened. He said people had been lied to, and the government had betrayed the fishing community. The council leader said the authority would do all it could to support the industry locally at Sutton Harbour. He added, "It is not just a business proposition. It is an assault on the community and a way of life, and it did not have to happen. These false promises need to be called out and held to account, and we will do everything we can to make sure that happens too." The trade deal for fishing means EU boats will continue to fish in UK waters for some years to come, but UK fishing boats will get a greater share of the fish from UK waters, with a quarter of the EU catch transferred to British boats over 5 years. The change will be phased in up to 2026, and after that there will be annual talks to decide the share of the catch. The UK would have the right to completely exclude EU boats after 2026, but the EU could respond with taxes on exports of British fish to the EU or by denying UK boats access to EU waters. Prime Minister Boris Johnson, announcing the trade deal in December 2020, said it meant the UK's share of fish in its waters rising substantially, and the industry would benefit from a £100 million modernisation programme. He said it meant for the first time since 1973 the UK would be an independent coastal state with full control of our waters, with the UK's share of fish in our waters rising substantially from roughly half today to closer to 2/3 in 5.5 years, after which there is no theoretical limit beyond those placed by science or conservation on the quantity of our own fish that we can fish in our waters. Just one word to Labour. I'm criticizing the Tories a lot in these videos, but Labour in this case can't be too loud complaining. First of all, their party in the House of Commons voted for this deal. And if Labour voted for that deal, They can't now stand up there and say, that's a betrayal, that's all bad, blah, blah, blah. Why did you vote for it in the first place? And the second thing is, in the whole Brexit shenanigans, Labour didn't really cover themselves with gold there. Let's put it like that. What Corbyn did, as he was a Brexiteer with the second referendum stuff and so on, they were not the shining heroes in this thing. So they can't complain too loud about this. And I didn't hear really any offers of alternatives from Labour. So the Tories and the government is, in case of Brexit, a catastrophe. But Labour, at the moment, is nothing better. You don't even know what they really want. I'm sorry to say this. And so let's wait and see if they develop something, but I don't see something at the moment. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. Auf Wiedersehen.